Hello everyone, and welcome to my video. For today's video, we're going to be doing this cool toned fall makeup look. And as you can see, I've already done my eyebrows and my face base. So let's jump straight into the eyes. For today's palette, I'm going to be using the Sultry palette by ABH. And I'm starting off with the lightest shade in the palette called Fresh. And I'm going to use this to highlight my brow bone. For the next shade, I'm using this cool toned taupey brown shade, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply it straight to my crease and blending it upwards towards my brow bone. I'm really trying to take my time with this color, starting little by little and building it up as I go. I'm really darkening this color as I go while blending it out so it can get as smoky as possible. After I've blended out my transition shade, and since we are going to be using some darker eyeshadows, I'm just going to go ahead and apply some powder underneath my eyes to prevent any fallout from happening. I'm also dragging the powder upwards towards my temple to create a guide for my eyeshadow shape. For the next eyeshadow, I'm using this shade called Dystopian, which is a cooler, darker brown. And I'm going to focus this on the outer corners of my eyes and trying to create that shape that I want before blending it in towards my crease and about a third of my lids. And while I'm creating this shape for the eyeshadow, I'm just following the guide that we created with the powder underneath our eyes. And here I'm just pinching my brush to get closer to my lash line. And like the transition shade, I'm really focusing on building this color up and focus on the blending. And then we're doing the same thing to the other eye, starting off little by little and building it up as we go, and just repeat the process. Here, I'm just blending out any harsh edges using a bigger, fluffier brush and blending all around the edges of the eyeshadow. Next, I'm going in with this super intense black color called Noir. And again, I'm going to be focusing this on the outer corners only, using an even smaller blending brush. And I really want the brown shade that we applied previously to show through the black, so I'm really focusing on not going over any of the brown shade. I'm also going over the edges of the black eyeshadow that we applied with the shadow brush that we used for the brown, just to make it even more smoky. Now I'm repeating the same process to the other eye. Just keep adding and blending, adding and blending. That's really all that we're doing with this entire look. Now it should look a little something like this. To make sure that everything is blended together, I'm going in with the first shade that we used in our transition, and I'm just going over that to blend out any harsh edges. Now for our lid shade, I'm going to be using this shade called Cinder, which is a gorgeous, cool toned champagne bronze. And I'm just applying this all over my lids using my finger. I'm also applying this upwards towards my crease, almost all the way up to the first transition shade. This makes the eyeshadow look even more faded and blown out. As an eyeshadow topper, I'm going to be using this Urban Decay Moon Dust Shadow in the shade Space Cowboy, which will just add more of a silvery flex to the eyeshadow. I also feel like this gives the eyeshadow more dimension. For my inner corner highlight, I'm using this shade called Pearl, which is a pearly pinky champagne color. And I'm also blending this upwards towards the inner part of my lids, which I feel really ties this look together. Now I'm just taking my powder brush and flicking off the powder that we had underneath our eyes. And thankfully, there's no fallout. Now let's move on to the rest of our face. For my bronzer, I'm using my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Give Me Sun. And I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this everywhere where the sun would naturally hit my face. Next, I'm going to contour my cheekbones with the Hoola bronzer by Benefit. And I'm just taking what's left on my brush and applying it onto my nose and the top of my forehead. Now I'm just taking the fluffy brush I used to apply my bronzer to blend everything together. For my blush, I'm using the Wanderlust Primer Infused Blush by Buxom in the shade Dolly. And I'm focusing this on the top of my cheekbones, blending it downwards towards the apples of my cheeks. And as always, I'm also going to be applying this on my nose just because I like the look of it. For my highlighter, I'm using the Mary Luminizer by The Balm and applying this on the highest points of my face. Now I'm just applying my clear brow gel to set my eyebrows, and I'm using the ABH Clear Brow Gel. Next, I'm using the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray to set the rest of my face. Now let's go ahead and finish up the eyes. First, I'm going to line my upper lash line using the NYX Epic Ink Liner to prep for the eyelashes that I'm going to apply. Now let's move on to our lashes. First, I'm just curling my lashes before applying the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. While I wait for my lashes to dry, let's go ahead and move on to the lips. I'm starting off with my MAC lip liner in the shade Oak, and I'm just going to go ahead and overline my lips. After I'm done overlining my lips, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill in the corners of my mouth before going in with the NYX Liquid Suede lipstick in the shade Sandstorm. And I'm avoiding applying this onto the center of my lips because we are going to apply another shade here. Now I'm taking my Buxom Vava Plump liquid lipstick in the shade Honeydew, and I'm just gonna apply this directly to my finger and dab this onto the center of my lips. Now it's time for the false eyelashes. The falsies that I'm going to be applying today is the Ardell Wispy Lashes, which are my go-to. And I'm just applying these as close to my lash line as possible. And now doing the same thing to my other eye. And now that the lashes are on, the look is complete. And we're done! Everything I used in this video will be listed in the description box down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.